Hello, 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 beautiful unicorns. How are you all doing on this amazing Thursday? Yana Kasperczak coming to you live from Fergus, Ontario, where it's nice and raining outside. And it has been my soul's purpose to help women break, help them get their shit together so they can break free from the mental prison that they find themselves in and build a life and or a business that they're not only proud of but excited to wake up to every single day, that they want to show up for themselves, that they want to show up for their business. And this is the reason why today I decided to do this particular topic, to help each and every one of you and to help you and ask you to help spread this message and invite other women to listen to this podcast or watch this video, where every Thursday, as many of you know, in this Facebook group, the Facebook group is Heal the Unicorn, Emotional Healing and Spiritual Growth for Women, where I go live every Thursday at 11:30 ish on the topic of helping women to get their shit together. And it's my weekly live free guidance that I do. So the topic for today is helping you to go from sacrifice to self-care. We'll talk about the 8 deep reasons women struggle to prioritize themselves. And if this sounds like you, meaning that if you want to do things that you know are going to make you happy, that you know that you love and enjoy, and yet you don't do them, you find roadblocks. It could be a time roadblock, it could be I don't feel well enough roadblock, it could be I'm not ready roadblock, it could be there's other things that I gotta do roadblock. There's different types of roadblocks that each and every one has. But my reminder to you is that those roadblocks that you feel like you can't get around are a universe's way vetting you, and vetting you in a way of, do you really, really want this? Or are you going to use this roadblock, aka an excuse or a reason for saying yes to something else but no to yourself, no to what you really want to do yourself, for yourself? And actually, it really does bring, here's what I'll bring you into understanding the level 1 energy a little bit more than what you did yesterday on the podcast that Bethany and I did yesterday. And in a different way, you will start to see that the only thing that is standing between you and the very thing that you want to do, whether it is just go out for a walk, no matter what the weather is outside, whether it is join a club, whether it is say yes to an opportunity that you want to say yes to, whether it's following your dreams, or whether it's achieving your goals, whether it's even putting your house together in order, whatever it is that you want to do and you know you really want to do it, but there's some part of you that is holding you, it's almost like it's pinning you down, and you can't seem to get to it. You can't seem to either get started, you can't seem to get motivated, you can't seem to move towards it. Or if you do move towards it and you do get started, perhaps completing it or seeing it through to the end, that is where you might find your struggle. So self-sabotage is very normal for women who are at their core and their roots have been conditioned and in a way trained to be good girls and what that entails, part of what that entails is that you're going to be putting other people first. You're going to be putting other things first. You have children, you're going to be putting your children first no matter what, for the most part, until you start to learn how you can balance it all. Because life is not about you being 100% focused on your business, or 100% focused on your kids, or 100% focused on your well-being and your self-care, or 100% focused on your partner, or 100% focused on your friends or family, whatever it is. Life is not about being 100% focused on one particular thing. It's about finding a balance every single day. It's not something you do once and you're done and it's over with. It's about finding balance every single day, and what that looks like, what that feels like, what that sounds like to you today when it comes to your well-being, your kids, your partner, your house, your parents, your friends, your job, your career, whatever it is that you have on your plate that you are responsible for. It's a juggling. It's all about juggling. And most of you have been to circus and have seen a juggler juggling balls, right? And if you haven't, you can imagine, or you can Google and you can find, and you can see how many balls some people can juggle. Because most people can juggle one or two, whereas other people can juggle lots of these balls and they just go like in circle. And that's not to say that they're better at juggling things in their life. It's just they're good at juggling those balls. No dirty minds here, okay? But you can learn how to juggle your life, how to manage your life, how to have balance in your life. And it really does start with you. With you knowing who you are, with you doing the work on yourself, with you and doing the work on yourself. This is so multi-level and multi-dimensional, so to speak, is that it's not just one thing. It's also a juggling act. Because you can't just pause life and focus on yourself. You got to figure out how you can work on yourself every single day, a little bit at a time, and get closer to the version of yourself that you want to be, which also means that you got to identify who is that version of you and understand where you are and who you are right now, and find a way to close the gap. The best way that I know how, that I have done myself, and I've also then helped many women to do the same, is to find someone who knows how to do that, who knows how to help you create that vision, and then identify where you are now, and then close that gap, and then help you to stay accountable to get there. Because life, just like I was mentioning earlier, universe works in mysterious ways. It is going to vet you. It is going to body check you sometimes to see if this is what you really want. It's going to nudge you and remind you of your programming, because your programming, it doesn't have space for that. It doesn't have space for you right now, so you have to create that space. And by creating that space, it's like decluttering your house. That's what you are. You're a house full of stuff. A lot of these things that you don't want are within you, in your roots, in your attic, in all your cells. And as you go through your house, you're going to find so many different things that you don't want there, that you don't need there, that don't belong there, that no longer serve you. And then some of the things you'll find, you'll be like, ooh, I really, really love that. I forgot that I even had that. And when you do that inner work on yourself, that's what you're going to do. You're going to find things that you love about yourself, that you like about yourself, that you don't like about yourself, and things that are not even yourself, that are, I don't know where that came from. I don't know where that thought or that idea came from. It's just there, renting space in your attic, and it ain't serving you, and it's not even paying rent. So just a little bit of the rant. And now let's go into the eight, what was the topic? The 8 deep reasons women struggle to prioritize themselves. And if what I just said resonates and sounds like you, sounds like someone else that you know as well, invite them to watch this video, invite them to listen to this podcast once this podcast is out on their favorite platform, shared from your favorite platform, wherever you're listening to this podcast on. Because, as I mentioned, it is my soul's purpose to help women get their shit together. And the best way to do that is by me helping one woman. My goal is to help one. Even though I work with more than one woman, my goal is to help one. And if I can help one, she can help another one. And then she can help another one, right? Or even faster way to multiply, and that's why I do group coachings, is I help 5 women, and each one of those women helps another 5 women. And each one of those 5 women, I don't even have enough fingers for this, but each one of those 5 women helps another 5 women. You see how quickly that can multiply? Super quickly. And I know each one of you is here for a reason, and in a way for a season. And each one of you wants to leave this world a better place than when you found it. And each one of you has a different way of doing that. Very few of you might do it in the way that I do it. Your way might be even working at the hospital, or working at an animal shelter or a human shelter. Or it might be simply having conversations with strangers and helping them feel great. It might be working at a senior home. There's opportunities are unlimited. It might be just simply by creating something as beautiful as this, right? As beautiful as a stone or crystal that brings healing to someone, brings an awe-like emotion to their life, makes them feel like the universe is talking and communicating with them, makes them feel like they have a purpose. It might even align them with their purpose. Whatever your path, your journey is, it is up to you to figure that out. And if you're not sure, just keep trying to figure it out, and in the trying you will figure it out. But don't force it, because when we force it, it's almost like we become blinder when we try to force something. So reason number 1, and this one I've talked about many times, and that is cultural conditioning. Each and every one of us has been raised with a certain culture. That is our core programming. Now, culture is the main culture that we're all raised in. It's our family. It's our primary caregivers and primary caretakers. That means your parents, that means your siblings, that means your uncles and aunts and cousins, those that are close, that you spend time with. That also means you're now a little bit more expanded. That means your friends as well. In a way, it's their parents who have been conditioning that child, and now your child is friends with that person who has been exposed to a different type of a culture, maybe similar, but in a way every family culture is different, right? And then you have the bigger culture of, the neighborhood or the community that you are part of, and then the maybe even the province or the country. It just expands, and in the and when you have your own family, you start to create certain type of culture within your family. Because one of the biggest parts of culture is the celebrations, the gatherings, how you spend your time, what you do during the times that you spend, and all those different types of things of when it comes to the use of time and the energy exchange. So from a young age, women are often socialized to prioritize others' needs over their own. Women especially. You've seen your mother do this. Even if you would consider your mother not a very good caregiver or caretaker, as I know some of you have been through really traumatic upbringings, that you still saw your mother self-sacrifice. One way or another, you still saw her struggle, self-sacrifice, and put you first, maybe not all the time, but sometimes, and you learn how to do that yourself. Or your father, the same thing. And they may be taught that self-sacrifice is virtuous and that their worth is tied to their ability to care for others. Women are natural caregivers. So for women, it's very natural to tie their self-worth to how much they have helped someone else, or how much they have taken care of someone else, how good of a mother they are. And if you ask your kids, they will tell you you're an amazing mother. But you yourself, you don't think you are. You don't think you're doing good enough because you have so many ideas. You have so many dreams. You have so many different visions of what you could be or should be doing better or differently with or for your kids. And you don't do them for various reasons, but you beat yourself up for not doing them instead of pausing and going within and seeing perhaps those things that you are trying to do or wanting to do are not necessarily the things that you do want to do. It's just an idea that someone put in your mind that made you think that this is what a good mother looks like. This is what a good mother sounds like. I want to be more like her. I want to be more like her. But you're not her. You're not even me. You are you. So yes, these ideas are great. These daydreams are great. These inspirations are great. But only you can figure out if that is what you even want to do. And the way to figure that out is to try. Try it once, try it twice. And if you don't even remember, so one thing I hear women share with me is that they'll have an idea what they want to do for their kids and with their kids, and they always forget. They always forget, and they have the list in front of them, and they even forget to look at the list, and then days go by, weeks go by, months go by, and all those things that they wanted to do for their kids with their kids have not been done. It's like they don't even remember that it exists until they look at that list the next morning, and then within 10 minutes they already forgot again. So through the art of asking questions, they realize that those things, they don't actually want to do them. They think those are great ideas, but they don't feel like they're the right things for the kids, or that the kids won't like them, or they just simply don't want to deal with their kids fighting back or not wanting to do what the parent wants to do. So, and there's different ways about it, right? So cultural conditioning is one. The second one is gender roles. Traditional gender roles dictate that women should be nurturing. The word here, the catchy word is should be nurturing, selfless, and accommodating. Oof. Accommodating women, good girls are so accommodating, and it's through self-sacrifice more often than not. Nurturing. By nature, we are nurturers and we're caregivers. That's why we're the ones that give birth and take care of the little baby. We nurture it, we take care of it selflessly for months on end, especially in the beginning of life, because that's what it's supposed to be. But then, because we had been conditioned by through culture, we continue on that path of nurturing, selflessness, self-sacrifice, and accommodating, even though, especially those kids, to a point where we're just helicopter parenting them, that we're doing practically everything for them, and we're trying to make their life easy because we feel like our life wasn't easy, or trying to make up for what or how we wished our life was, and creating our dream life for our kids. But in reality, it more often than not, it doesn't work out well. And I'll give you an example from my personal life. Just a simple example that some of you might relate to. So um, I grew up in Russia, and back in when I was growing up in the mid 80s, there was no such thing as diapers. There was no such thing as these snappy shoes. You gotta tie your shoelaces. You have cloth diapers so nothing is absorbed, and none of that stuff. And by the way, that stuff is full of toxic things, from what I have learned, and that goes on the bare bottoms of our children. And only if I knew that when I was raising my kids, I would have done things very differently. Just planting the seeds of what I learned a lot, and from different areas of life and existence, and living a better life and a healthier life. And some of these things, it just, like I said, I wish I knew, but what's done is done. Anyways, so I grew up in a different way. So by the age of 1, I was already fully potty trained. What's the average of a child now of them being and becoming potty trained? How old were your children when they were fully potty trained? Now, for me, I was 1 and I was fully potty trained. For my kids, 2.5, around there for both of them. And whereas there's some kids that were in my son's previous grade, in grade 4, who were still wearing diapers. So in grade 4, still wearing diapers because they haven't learned to go on the potty, which is, raises quite a few questions. Maybe there's some trauma or some fear going to the toilet, when you tell your child, don't worry, there's no monster in the toilet, and the child didn't think that there was going to be a monster, and here you are giving them ideas, and now they're fearful of the toilet. So now when it comes to tying shoelaces, how old were you when you learned how to tie your shoelaces? I don't know the answer to that question for myself, but I would imagine I was quite young, because I remember even at 7 years old, I was tying my shoelaces as easily as eating a piece of cake. Whereas my son, our daughter has learned how to tie her shoelaces a couple of years ago. She's 14 now. Our son is 10, and he is pretty much just learning how to tie his shoelaces, and he's getting better at it, right? So, and this was me playing my gender role by being a great mother and making sure that my son has an easy life. But in the end, by me trying to make his life easy, in some ways I had made it harder for him, where he would much rather run around with his shoelaces untied and flinging around everywhere than tie his shoelaces, because it's easier for him that way. And now I don't tie his shoelaces. I my husband is the one that actually taught him how to tie the shoelaces. And because I have a different method of doing that, I mean, he started teaching him, like, I'm just not going to confuse him with a different method of tying shoelaces. Let him tie it that way, right? It shows that even when it comes to tying shoelaces, we as parents, we have different methods for doing certain things. And just because, it's not, I'm not going to go and take over and teach him how to do it my way, where if my husband took the lead, teaching him to tie shoelaces, great, by all means, go ahead. And you do that and you learn through his method. And in the end, our son might end up creating his own method for tying shoelaces, or teaching his kids the same method that his father taught him how to tie shoelaces. So to each their own. So with gender expectations, these expectations can make it challenging for women to assert their own needs and desires without feeling guilty or selfish. For good girls, this one is a massive one. This is the one that I work through, and I still work through myself. I catch myself, you know, having that, I'll call it anxiety, or fear or insecurity with me speaking my mind, me speaking my needs and my desires and my wants, because I don't want to burden anyone. I don't want to feel like a burden. And on top of that, I don't want to feel rejected, because that hurts, right? But the more we practice pushing past those fears, which are not realistic. They're a little realistic, but they're not really realistic, because the reason why they're not realistic is when we feel that, we feel like we're going to die. But the reality is we're not going to die. Reality is that if your fear is of being rejected, soon enough you'll get comfortable and you won't even care to be rejected anymore. You'll be comfortable. You'll be good. And you won't feel guilty, or you won't feel selfish eventually. Everything takes time and everything takes practice. So the third reason, what was it? Yeah. So the third reason is external validation. Okay. Let me actually do this so I can have the I like to have the title in front of me so I can refer to it, because I don't remember it over and over and over again. But having the title right in front of me, I remember it and I can refer back to it. And anyway, so the third reason why women struggle to prioritize themselves, and that's why I like the title in front of me, is external validation. That need, that want, that desire for external validation is so loud, and it is so, it's almost like at the forefront. Now, some of you might not have to think too far back, but I want you to think back. Perhaps maybe when you were a teenager even, and you would find yourself playing a role for everyone without recognizing that you're playing a role. But how it shows through is that you would say whatever it is that you know your mom wants to hear, or your dad wants to hear, that will make them feel good. That will make them, that it's like saying exactly what they need to hear in order for you to maybe even get out of trouble, or in order for them to let's say you feel bad over something, but you don't want your mom or your dad or your friend or your partner or whoever to feel bad either. So you will say what you believe you need to say, so they stop asking that question and let it go. Because you're, in your mind, you're like, that's fine. It's not the end of the world. I'll get over it myself. I don't want to burden anyone. I don't want to make anyone feel bad. That's you putting say no to yourself. This one is going to connect to gender roles, where you have your own needs, you have your own desires, you have your own hurts, but you don't want to burden anyone else with them, because you're such a good girl, and good girls, they can do it all. They don't struggle, they don't suffer, they actually extend their hand to help others. And by helping others, they're more often than not, they're not actually helping themselves, even though it might feel like that in the moment, but eventually it might not feel like that, because then how are your needs being met? How are your desires being met? How are you working through your pains and struggles and sufferings? If you don't have a way to work through those and heal those, or someone to help you through all that, it's going to catch up. Sooner or later, it's going to catch up. So women may seek validation and approval from external sources, such as partners, family, friends, society, leading them to prioritize others' opinions over their own self-worth. This one, I noticed this one, even with myself, or especially with myself, because everything starts with ourselves. But I noticed this one all the time with the women that I work with, that they care so much what everybody else thinks about them. They want to be liked by everyone. They don't want anyone to have any bad thoughts or opinions about them. They don't want to disappoint anyone, and even strangers. So they'll say nice things to everyone. They'll do nice things for everyone. They'll self-sacrifice. They will not share their needs, wants, and desires, because they don't want to burden anyone. And that's what I was saying, like when you think back to when you were in school, when you were young or even older, maybe some of you still catch yourself there, where you are just trying to say the right thing instead of the truth. And it might be harder to say the truth, but in the long run, that's what's easier. It's so much easier. And this self-sacrifice, nobody knows. Nobody knows that you're self-sacrificing. And very few people will care. Those that truly love you, they will care. The rest, they don't care if you're self-sacrificing, because they just care that they get what they want in the end. And you know those people. You know who those people are. You know those people who care, and you know those people who don't. So what is your self-sacrifice doing? What is your external validation doing for you? It is helping you. It is partially needed. You can get opinions of others. Hopefully they're the truthful opinions that will tell you, hey, you need to get your shit together in this area, or in this area, or here or there. That they're not just going to say things just to make you feel good about yourself, and some friends that will do that just in the way of, not on purpose, because some of them might be really good girls, while others will do it on purpose. But they're not doing you any service. Because if you come to someone and you ask for an honest opinion about what is it about me that I can change so I would be a better person in your eyes, in your experience, in your perception, help me see me through your eyes. And depending on the level of goodness within this girl, within this friend of yours, some will tell you the truth, others, they will fluff it up, and others, they will tell you you're perfect the way you are. But you know that perfection is an illusion, that within perfection itself, the whole purpose of perfection, in my understanding, in my experience, is that it keeps moving, right? It keeps moving, which means right now I might feel like I'm perfect. I might feel like everything is perfect, and people in my life might do the same. But the more I stay in the same place, the less perfect I'll feel, which means that I need to move my perfection meter to the next stage, next level. and then the next one and the next one, right? Sometimes people can help me to see where else I can improve, what else I can do better, or I can do that myself as well, because then when we stay in the same place, we don't feel good. And that's what perfection is. We get comfortable with reaching that level of perfection, whatever it is, right? Whatever it means to you. It might be, let's say, a perfect house that you wanted, and you set everything up in your house, and everything is perfect, everything is nice, neat, and tidy, and organized. You don't have too much stuff, and you redesign your house, and you live there for a while, but then, before you know it, something feels off. Like you want to start changing things again, because you're too comfortable here now. And when we're too comfortable, we feel uncomfortable. And that means, okay, now there's a new level of perfection that we're ready to go chase and chase that. So external validation is also fleeting. It's, we can become dependent on receiving that validation from outside of us, and we don't learn how to give that to ourselves. Number four, fourth reason why women struggle to prioritize themselves is the fear of judgment. In a way, I mentioned it. That's why we say all the right things and do all the right things, so that way we're not judged, we are not prosecuted or ridiculed or laughed at. We avoid all that. But in trying to avoid it, we actually experience that even more. Have you noticed that? Women may fear being judged or criticized for prioritizing themselves, for putting themselves first. What kind of a mother are you that you go and you take care of yourself before you go and take care of your kids? Why do you eat breakfast first before your children? How selfish of you to do that. Now, I don't know if you've heard that before, or if you thought of that before. I've had those thoughts in my mind, and I've heard women share these types of experiences and stories, and it really doesn't feel good. But if it is, let's talk about this example of, why would you eat food first before your kids? Why not feed your kids first and then yourself? Well, because you're hungry, because you know that you can put up with your kids and you can deal with them better when you are not hangry. Because if you're hangry, those kids are going to pay for that. Let's start with just that one reason why you would feed yourself first before feeding your kids. Maybe your kids are still sleeping and you're hungry. Why would you wait for them? You want to make sure that you're fed, that you're taken care of, that you're good to go, that you're not going to take your internal discomfort out on your kids. Expressing their needs assertively or setting boundaries. They might feel that fear of being judged when they express their needs assertively and clearly, or setting a boundary, saying, no, it's not okay. I'm not comfortable with that. We're not going to do that anymore. Might not feel very comfortable. You might fear being judged or interrogated. Why? Things were perfectly before. Why are you changing now? Why are you changing things now? I don't like change. Well, nobody likes change, but everybody loves to live their life after things have been changed. But in order for us to even know what that's like, we need to go through the process of change. You can't expect a butterfly to be a butterfly without going through all the previous stages. It needs to go through all of that to really know and embrace itself in its purest form as a butterfly. Okay, this fear can stem from societal expectations and internalized beliefs about what it means to be a good woman, a good girl, a good mother. The fifth reason why women struggle to prioritize themselves is low self-esteem. Very high level one energy, where you always feel like you lose. that you're not good enough, that there's nothing you can do about it. Why even bother? Why even try? And you might actually, at this level, you hate yourself. You don't like yourself. You're not happy with yourself. You're not proud of yourself. There's no confidence there. There's no happiness. There's no joy. There's no gratitude at this level. It's self-pity, self-wallow. You feel like you have no choice, that you don't matter, and that you're not lovable, that you're not valuable, that you're not valued, that really nobody cares. But if you pause for a second, then you ask yourself, you challenge that thought, you challenge the words that come out of your mouth. How true is that? How true is that really? That you hate yourself? Do you really hate yourself? I've heard women say yes. Okay. Can you give me or share with me just 3 things that you actually like about yourself? Even just a little bit. What are the 3 things that you like about yourself? And they would share the 3 things that they like about themselves or even love about themselves. So then how true is that really, that you hate yourself? Because you can't fully hate yourself if there are things that you really like or love about yourself. Well, I guess I don't. Well, let's start there. How does that feel? Is that a great place to start? Yes. Okay, so let's start there. You want to build on that? Yes, I would love to build on that. Okay, give me 5 more things or reasons about you that you like or love. Keep making that list bigger and bigger and bigger. Before you know it, you have 50 or 100 reasons why you actually like or love yourself. Which word feels better? Hate or love? Love. So what would it take for you to think of this word hate as a bad word, as a taboo word, and not use it again? It would take me to be a little bit more self-aware, that when I catch myself, I change that word to love right away. Okay? The very things that you would say that you hate about yourself, I would now say that I love those very things about myself. And you start loving them. It's simple, yet it's not simple. It's something that we can do ourselves, but if you are in these lower energy levels, you're just simply not going to. You're not going to show up for yourself because it feels impossible. It feels like if you do, you're definitely going to die, that you're going to explode and the world is going to end. And you would put it off until next time, next time, next time, next time, next time. I'll do it tomorrow. Well, I'll do it later in the day. You know, when the kids go to sleep. And when the kids go to sleep, I'm too tired to do this. I need and deserve a rest and sleep right now. So I'm going to go do that, and I'll do it tomorrow. First thing in the morning, I'll do that tomorrow. First thing in the morning, you don't remember because you've forgotten all about it. Does it sound familiar? Yeah. I know a thing or two of that. So that was low self-esteem. The 6th deep reason why women struggle to prioritize themselves is because many women they have caregiver responsibilities. They're responsible for someone else outside of themselves, whether it's their kids, their pets, their partners, their family, their friends. They find someone to be responsible for. And many women juggle multiple roles, including caregiver responsibilities for children, aging parents, or other family members. These demands on their time and energy can make it challenging to carve out space or time for self-care. So if you don't prioritize your self-care, no one will do it for you. Your partner might actually help you out with this if you open up, if you talk and you share and you let them know that this is the area that you're actually struggling in. It does not make you weaker. It makes you stronger. By sharing and opening up, Your partner wants to know who you are. They want to help you. All of us, we want to help our partners, our spouses, our friends, our kids. And if we don't know what's wrong, how can we help? We can just assume. But when we assume, more often than not, we are wrong. We are dead wrong. So that's why it's important to share and talk. So if you are struggling with carving out time for yourself, then involve your partner. Let them know. Let them know even what things that you would really like to do that will help you feel like you're taking care of yourself, that you're self-care, the things that you consider self-care. And there's different types of things that are considered self-care. It could be a walk, it could be a jog, it could be reading a book, it could be taking a bath, it could be just sitting outside, it could be cleaning is also self-care. It could be decluttering and organizing. It could be having some creative time, and whatever creative time means to you, right? Maybe you want to refinish some furniture, some pieces in the house, or it could be just tinkering with things in your craft room. It could be anything. It could be journaling. It could be meditating. It could be just having a conversation with someone, or it could be just simply having your call with your coach every single week. You know what works for you. You know what your self-care is. And the best ones, you want to share that with those that you love and care about, and those that love and care about you back. That will help you to prioritize the things that are important to you, as you already have been doing for them. It's an equal exchange. You got to learn how to speak up and find your voice within this process. So the seventh reason why women struggle to prioritize themselves is perfectionism. We talked about perfection a little bit, but to make it more clear is that women may feel pressure to excel in all areas of their life. Not one, not two, but all areas of their life. That you're supposed to be some kind of a superhero, and on top of that, have a full-time job and a career and bring an income into the house. On top of you caring for the house, for the kids, for the pets, for yourself, for your partner, juggling all of the schedules, all the appointments, all of those things, and still on top of that, follow and chase your dreams, build your business or career. It's a lot. And it is expected of you, especially in this day and age, to be successful and perfect and excel in every area of your life and help your offsprings to do the same. You're setting yourself in a way for failure. And failure is great because you get to learn a lot, because through that process you do get to learn a lot. But if you don't have the right support systems in place to deal with failure, it will knock you down to a point where you will feel like a cripple, that you cannot get back up, and you struggle, and it takes you years to get back up. I have been there, I have done that, and I have come to my wit's end where I decide, you know what? I choose me. Let me figure out who me is, what me wants, what me needs, and do that. And everybody else and everything else is secondary. And it's all about balance, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video. So, where women may feel pressure to excel in all areas of their life, striving for perfection in their careers, relationships, and appearance. You gotta look beautiful, ladies. Because if you don't, you're not a good mother. You're not a good wife. You are selfish, and you don't care about yourself, and you don't care about those around you. You are an embarrassment. How true is that? It's not true. It's absolutely not true. You can look however you want. Just go outside, look around. Everyone looks however they want. Not everybody looks like a Barbie doll. Not everybody looks like they went to a makeup place and had all their makeup all done up. Or not everyone even has time to do their hair. I do have time to do my hair now because I that's what I enjoy, and I do this for myself for fun. But it took me years to get to this point, to even want to. It needed to come from within, from me wanting to do that. But I don't go and put makeup all over my face and get all dolled up. That's not my thing. One day maybe will be, but I highly doubt it. It never has been before. And I don't think I am even going in that direction, knowing what I know about the makeup industry as well. So, not doing that either. So, or even going back to do my nails all the time, learning how damaging the UV light is and the chemical reaction of those nail polishes that you put under the UV light. I'm just no longer doing that anymore because I enjoy my own nails looking nice and beautiful and not so broken and shattered. So, yeah, a lot of things I've been learning about the beauty industry that is attached to this word appearance. It's all about learning. It's all about juggling and finding balance, right? I do love having my nails done, but there's a different way to go about it. It's just having my own nails and keeping them nice and clean and making them with the white the way that they are, and that's it, right? Keeping the whites part white, which is just brushing and cleaning. And there's actual white pencil that you can put underneath your nail to keep it nice and white looking, almost like you got a French manicure. But my nails right now are not clean. I was actually cutting some berries and putting them in dehydrator so we can have some dehydrated berries. And I really love just munching them on them like that, or putting them for snacks for kids and in my tea. And before the berries or the fruits they go bad, it's either I freeze them or I dehydrate them. And dehydrated bananas are my favorite. They're so good. They're like candy. So this relentless pursuit of perfection can leave little room for self-care and self-compassion, as you can imagine. And the last one, number 8, deep reason why women struggle to prioritize themselves is these internalized messages. And it goes so deep, and there are almost like an infinite amount of these internalized messages that we each carry, that if you heard them out loud, or if you heard someone say them, you would, how would I put it? You would not be okay with someone saying those things out loud about themselves. But yeah, those are the very things that you say about yourself. All the feelings of, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, like the one that pops to my mind that I went through myself. And this is like, it's when I said it out loud when I was working with my coach, and it was just like baffling to me. And this was a realization that I came to, is that I would wake up in the morning and I would not eat until about like 5 o'clock. And it wasn't from a lack of time, and it wasn't from any of those things. It was because I was carrying a message within me that I was unworthy of eating food because I didn't pay for it. I didn't earn the right to eat the food because I didn't bring an income in. I was a stay-at-home mom at that point. And only when the whole entire family was eating, made the food, and then we would sit down and eat, only then would I actually eat with everyone together for dinner. And when I was asked why, I'm like, I don't really know why. And, digging deeper and deeper and deeper, I had this message that was completely unrealistic, that it how it's like that I wasn't worthy of eating it because I wasn't earning money and I wasn't bringing money in. And when I had the whole family there, it was like I was waiting for their approval that I was allowed to eat. Like it's so unrealistic, but that was one of my internalized messages that somehow I had created in my mind and conditioned my body to not even be able to eat food because the person that was bringing an income wasn't there. And that was absolutely not even how we lived our life. And to this day, that's not how we live. We share everything. Everything we share. It has never, ever, not even from the moment that we started dating, been your money, my money, your things, my things. It's never been that way. And if it was, I wouldn't have married him, because that's not how I was raised. That's not what I witnessed and watched my parents. You share everything. You become a unit. You are building a life and building a business together. And you don't share all these different things and say, this is yours, this is mine, and then fight over the things that are yours or mine. No. So that's why I'm like, I was shocked to even have that realization that this is this deep internalized message that I had somehow created in my mind that was based on unworthiness, that I wasn't worthy enough, and that those who are not earning, they're not worthy of anything. And that is so not true. Because as a mother, as a stay-at-home mother, as a caregiver, you are doing so much that even the government can afford to pay you for those things. You are a taxi driver. How much does a taxi driver earn? You are a home caretaker. How much does she earn? You are a daycare. How much do daycares cost? You are a therapist. How much do those cost? You're a coach. How much do those cost? I mean, the list can go on. As a mother, what other roles that you play and you do? So this is what I did. Then I went and I made a list of all my jobs and how much I would get paid for each and every job. And in the end, I would have been earning an annual income, because I'll just sum it up, an annual income, I would have been earning somewhere in the range of $500,000 a year annually. And that's not including tips. Right, which you don't get. Your tips as a mother, you get a hug, you get a kiss, you get a smile, you get I love you. You get your kids to help out. Like, that's the thank yous that you get. That's your tips. So take them or leave them. But by making that list, it helped me to really start to get my shit together with how I was even looking at food. This one little thing, such as food, I was denying myself for these unrealistic and just like mind-boggling messages that I was carrying that just didn't make sense. But it made sense once I saw them outside myself, to shift and see that I was worthy and I was worth so much more than why am I here? If I was gone, nothing would change, nothing would matter. It would just be easier for everyone else. So not true. Absolutely not true. But that's what the mind does. And the body gets conditioned really freaking quickly to what the mind says. Really quickly. I was waking up nauseous, like even vomiting some mornings, because of how I was viewing and seeing myself. These internalized, deeply ingrained messages are what is holding all of us back, every single human being. That's the mental prison that I refer to, that I no longer want to go to. I visit once in a while, but I'm the one in control because I know what's up. I understand myself. I know myself well enough, and I know life and existence well enough to know better and to stay in that space longer than I need to. So I get to visit that mental prison because there's so much value in there. I get to learn. And sometimes life, or most of the time, it is life that provides those lessons for me, like it does for all of us. The universe saying, hey, what's up? You really want this? Okay, let me buddy check you and see how quickly you'll get back up to keep going after what it is that you're going after. You really want that dream? Okay, let me see how much you want it. Let me throw this stone in front of you, or how about this boulder, and see how you get around that one. So internalized messages from media, advertising, and societal norms often promote unrealistic standards of beauty, success, and happiness. Social media is your friend, but it's also your biggest enemy. Women may internalize these messages, leading to feeling of inadequacy and self-doubt. Just to share a little bit here. Oh, Rebecca, hey, how are you doing? Beautiful. I saw that you've been on, but I only just started seeing comments come through now. And I'm looking here. There's been quite a few comments. Okay. Rebecca says, I'm super late this morning. Has been crazy. Hopefully it's a good kind of crazy, but better late than never. And I know you would rewatch the beginning. There's always lots of gold even in the beginning, or sometimes especially in the beginning. I don't even remember how old, but I know I was very young. It's my job to teach and unteach. Ooh, I like that one. Teach and unteach. I'm curious about the unteaching part. I'm really curious about the unteaching part. I honestly have those thoughts in my mind. I'm the last one I serve, and I'm the last one for everything, but I'm slightly munching while cooking. My mother-in-law is in that similar way where she was raised that way. She watched her mother do that, where the way that I would describe it is what I feel like the mindset might be. As I've kind of felt that mindset myself and played around with it unconsciously by living in that way of feeling like I'm the servant. That it is my job to make sure that I feed everyone and everyone is taken care of. And then when they're all good and happy, then I'm allowed to sit down and eat. So with my mother-in-law, I see that she would make a big nice feast with the help of her husband, with my father-in-law, or sometimes she'll do it herself or he'll do it. But as she's serving, she doesn't even have a seat for herself. She'll make sure that everybody's sitting down, everybody's eating, and she's very, very, how do I put it? Just the word loving comes through, that she's very loving and accommodating to everyone. And, you know, her son, she has 3 sons. My husband is the middle of the 3 boys. He'll say, Mom, sit down, eat. She's like, no, I'm okay. I'll wait. You guys eat. You guys enjoy. But for me, I feel like this is where it might be also coming from, is that accommodating mindset, that caregiver, that yes, it might make you feel good, but at the same time, why not sit down and eat together? Or as you're munching, so you're making sure that you're not hungry, right? And that everybody else is fed, and then you finally sit down and eat. I used to do that myself until I learned that when you start chewing something, you start eating, you're creating your digestive juices, right? You're telling your body that you're going to be eating, and it starts digesting. And then you go and you sit down and you eat a full meal. In the end, what you're doing is you're also overeating, because not tracking the snacking, and then a whole entire meal on top of that, and then maybe afterwards you're snacking again. And I noticed myself doing that as well. And I worked in some restaurants, in one restaurant, and then I watched quite a few like restaurant shows as well, and heard some conversations of chefs. And you see what a chef looks like, and by learning how they're also cooking and how they're preparing, I learned that there is a connection between how they chef and their body. So those that are tasting and trying their food or snacking in the kitchen, they would have a certain shape of a body. And those that don't do that, they have a different shape of a body, right? As you can imagine, one is slim and one isn't. And I feel like I learned that fairly early on in my cooking career, as I like to call it. It's called a parent, where you cook as a parent. That's my cooking career. That I don't taste my food. Um, and there were a couple of points that I was snacking, but I snapped out of it because of what I've just shared. That it's it can get out of hand really quickly, and I noticed that within myself as well. Um, but as for the mindset, it's different for everyone, right? It's the internal messages that we each carry. Like I said, I can only assume when it comes to you, Rebecca, when it comes to my mother-in-law, when it comes to any other woman that shares that something like that with me, and myself. I know what I know, but you know yourself better, and you can understand where that's coming from for you, and maybe even seeing where or when that started, what might have triggered you to turn towards snacking because you're hungry and you want to make sure that you eat before you sit down and eat a full meal. Or what would it take for you to stop snacking and then go and sit down and have the full meal with your family together? Or feed yourself first, and then when you're done, then you call your family. Or if it works for you, then eat after your family. But it I feel like separation is not healthy, but eating together is a healthier option, mentally healthier and physically as well. I do feel sad, Rebecca says, when I'm ready to eat and everyone is done and I eat alone. Victor usually waits for me now because we've talked about that. I like that I'm brave. Oh, I'm glad that you said that you're brave. You are brave. And I'm glad that you had that conversation with Victor, that he is aware that you don't enjoy eating alone, that it doesn't feel good, that you feel sad when you eat alone. I would feel sad when I eat alone as well. If everybody's eating and they're done eating, yeah, we actually, in a way, have a rule, but at this point, it's not even a rule, that it's dinner time. Everybody comes, sits down. All four of us sit down at a round table. Okay, so we all see each other. Um, so we sit down at the round table in our kitchen, and we pretty much start eating at the same time. And sometimes, if I'm still finishing some things up in the kitchen, if we're waiting for the kids to arrive to sit down on the table, I'll, start to clean the dishes, especially if my husband is the one that's doing the cooking, which most of the time he does. That's something that we learned about each other as well, where, he enjoys that more than I do, so please go right ahead. And I won't take that from you. And yeah, so I'll be finishing up, and they most of the time will even wait for me to start eating. So we sit down and we eat together. And so maybe even having a rule where you just sit down together. Everybody sits and waits because that's a polite thing to do before you start eating. And then when everybody's sitting down, everyone is ready, you then all dive into the food and eat. And then Rebecca says, I like that I think outside the box. I'm glad to hear that, and I love to hear that as well. I like that I'm not afraid to be a lone wolf, even though it's a lonely lifestyle. I love that as well. A lot of good comes from being a lone wolf as well. And every wolf will find its pack, right, of other lonely wolves. And and then Rebecca says, I like that I am in touch with my intuition. And I love that you're in touch with your intuition. And then Rebecca says, you sound like me. I'll do it later. Yeah, that's very normal. It's very normal. It's prioritizing everything and everyone else before yourself. I asked them to try to take initiative in certain ways so I can have more time for my self-care. I love that. And I hope that he has been accommodating with that as well and helpful. And Rebecca says, I love that the other night after the kids went to sleep, Victor told me he needed some self-care grooming time. As we usually go to bed together, I said, woohoo, I love that. Go fill your cup up, baby. There you go. See, and now he's opening up. Now he's telling that he needs that too. Because sometimes men need that time as well. They need time for self-care. They need time for self-love. And they might not even be aware of that need until you state it, until you tell them, until you share that this is one of your needs, and they start to recognize, ooh, this is one of the things that I need too. So one of the things that I do for my husband every single week, twice a week usually, is I do a facial for him. He'll lay in the bed with a pillow, with a towel at the bottom, and I have my nice warm bowl with water and the towel, and I have a bunch of facial products that I got for him. Wash the face, scrub it, and then I'll put a mud mask or a peeling mask on, and different steps and processes. And I take care of his beard as well. The beard oils that I got for him smell so good. And then for the face and for what is it called? Now I forgot what it's called. I think castor oil, to help you grow, thicken your hairs. Not that he needs it, but just different kind of products that I would use and take care of him. And it's really nice and relaxing, and it's something that I would also say bonding. And he actually started doing that for me, and I didn't ask, but he also knows that there's some things that I simply won't ask because I don't want to be a burden. And so he'll offer, and if I want it, I'll say yes. If not, then no, right? So he offered, I'm like, yeah, I would love that. Let's do that. So he would give me a facial once a week as well. So helping each other feel cared for, and in a way perform acts of self-care on or for one another, that helps you to even bond and spend time together in a different way, right? Where you can even have your show playing, whether you're watching it or listening to it. Probably just listening to it because you want to pay attention if you're doing facials then to that. Rebecca says, I used to get all dolled up every day. It took me an hour to get ready for 45 minutes. Now I don't even spend 5 minutes. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's quite normal. And I say that because I hear that very often, and myself, I've been through that, especially those who have children. Those who don't have children, they still spend hours getting ready. But once you have children, it's like you gotta split your time. If you were just you taking care of yourself, you had 100% of the time for you. The focus was entirely on you. Then you got a partner, now it's 50-50, right? Or 60-40 or 80-20, right? However you split that time, and you take care of him, take care of yourself, and then you have kids. For each kid, they're going to require different times. And the younger they are, the more they need from you and time with you as well. So it's only normal to then feel like you're out of balance until they're honestly until they're old enough where you can start to feel like you're getting your time back and you're focusing more on yourself, or a little bit more on yourself and taking care of yourself. Rebecca says, I'm trying to work that back into my life. I'm trying to, where did I go? Trying to figure out how I want to show up every day externally. Lately, it's just been oversized clothes and men clothes. Hey, you're figuring that out. And if that clothes works for you, by all means. I went through that stage as well. And I went through the stage of, even when I had kids and I had full-time job, 9 to 5, actually even longer than that job, I would get dressed. I wore high heels and makeup. I mean, not so much, but I wore jewelry, rings, which now I'm getting back to, because certain things I enjoyed that I used to do and I still love them now, and certain things no. I don't enjoy heels. I don't do dresses. Very rarely might I wear a dress. And with my clothes, it's nice, but it's comfortable. Some days I'm like, I'm just gonna be in the pajama all day, and I do that, right? Or at least I'll put a nice top on top, and then the bottoms will be pajamas, because today is that day, and I have that ability, right? And that's a part of figuring it out. And then Rebecca said, such a struggle to accept myself as valuable when I don't make as much money. I think I should be making, considering my qualifications and credentials and certification. 100%. That's what the society is telling you. That your self-worth is based on how much you earn. And how much you do and accomplish. That's why on some days when you perhaps might not be doing as much, whether it's in the house or for your job or whatever it is that you're doing, and you're just taking more time for yourself, take care of yourself, that those days that, yeah, you might feel great in the meantime, but you might start to feel like, oh, I didn't do enough, I didn't accomplish enough, I wasn't productive enough, I'm such a failure, I'm not good enough, and you go into that spiral, into that rabbit hole that does not help you to feel good or worthy, because you have been conditioned, and those internal messages you're carrying and those roots, those programs that you have within you that bring you back to them, quote unquote, they ground you. They're not there to break you down, they're there to help you build you up. But in the process of being built back up, you need to be broken down and rebuild and reconstruct it. So that's what you're going through. You're going through the rebuilding stages by breaking things down, taking them apart. Like, think of yourself as a kid, as a curious kid. Let's say you're a curious kid that got a toy car that comes with all these nuts and bolts and a screwdriver. What are you going to do? You're going to take it apart. And then you got to figure out, because it doesn't come with a manual, then you got to figure out how you're going to put it back together. You're not going to figure out how to put it back together on the first go. You got to keep trying and trying to put this car back together to its working conditions, so it operates the way it's supposed to. So all the lights and all the gadgets and everything works in there. And one day you will. And that's what it's like with us as well. We come with no manual. We take ourselves apart. And then now we're putting ourselves back together, because some of these parts in this car, they might be like trick parts that don't even belong there, that you don't even need. So you take them out and you have a perfectly working car. A little bit of a different example. And then Rebecca says, I was in that mental prison and also visit once in a while, and it's my daily intention to stay away from that mental prison. I love that. Mental prison is highly educational, and that is where you really get to know yourself, but it doesn't feel good. It's not supposed to feel good, right? Otherwise everybody would be living there. It doesn't feel good. It's not supposed to, but it teaches you a lot about you and about those around you and the world. And it's important to keep chipping away at it and keep breaking free from it, where you find yourself trapped there. And there's a difference when you're trapped and when you're visiting. When you're trapped is that best way to, or easier to explain, is that when you're visiting, you're going through a lot, you're going through things in your life, but you're able to snap out of that and feel happiness and joy, and not feel like stuck and unable to function. But if you are not able to function, then that is where you are in a mental prison and the doors are closed and locked and you can't get out. And in order for you to get out, you gotta keep working and working and working at yourself. Those messages, those thoughts, those voices, all the limiting beliefs, all the assumptions and all the interpretations that you're carrying within yourself, your programming. And the more you understand your programming, the more able you are to rewrite it. The easier it becomes to rewrite that program to the one that is you and authentic to you, and not the one that is trying to run and control you. And hey Debbie, how are you doing? Beautiful. Debbie says, I try to encourage that and my offspring find it important. I love that. And it sounds like it's important to you to encourage it, and now it's important to them as well. Then Debbie says, I do a lot of sundresses. I call my house dresses. Oh, see? Each one of us has our own style, our own things that we love. I don't particularly like dresses, but there are times that I just love to wear a certain dress and it feels great. And I do that for myself. But whenever I'm told to wear something particular or to dress in a certain particular way, I no longer do well with that. I used to be such a good girl that I would say, yes, okay, I'll do that. If that's what you want, I'll do that. Now I'm like, nope, just because you told me to, I ain't doing that now. Because that doesn't feel like it's my choice. But if it came from me, great. But if it comes from someone else and they're telling me what to do, I question that. I question, is it for my benefit or is it for yours? Because chances are it's for yours and it's not for mine. Because if it was for mine, I'd be the one coming up with that idea. I'd be the one doing it. But if I'm being told, then that's for your benefit. And what's in it for me? Sometimes I'd say yes, and most of the time no, right? Right. And then last comment says, Debbie says, I have a lot of days I don't do enough, then I can't sleep well. That, I'm trying to think of a question that would be a good question to understand where it might be coming from. Why do you feel that whatever you have done throughout that day wasn't enough? Where is that? Who or what says that this is enough, that you do this, this, and this is enough, and that if you don't do those things, that it's not enough, or that you are not enough? Because it's also coming from some place that is causing, it's clearly causing a disturbance within you, that you can't sleep well because you have not been a good enough girl, that you haven't done enough. Too much screen time. Okay, so that sounds like overstimulation. Overstimulation, one. And the other is that screens are a way of escape. Escape reality. To not do certain things or to not feel certain things, we often go to the screen. It's another form of a drug at this point. I feel like most of us will agree that a screen, it is or it can be an addiction when we're just glued to the screen and nothing else really matters, and it is our way of escaping ourselves or reality or our massive to-do lists or the dream list or the goal lists. But if you enjoy being on the screen and watching the screen, what would be a healthy balance that at the end of the night you would feel good about having balanced life and the screen? And finding that every single day, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, that balance is going to be every single day. It'll be a little bit different. Some days it'll be a little bit more screen time, other days it'll be a little bit less, and other days it'll be absolutely no screen at all. And what would that balance be for you, for example, today? What would that entail? Okay, so that is all that I have for you guys for today. This one was longer than usual. How many minutes? We're here. I can't see how many minutes. Long enough of the minutes for you all. Hopefully this was helpful. Looking forward to hearing from each and every one of you. And if you find this community or this podcast, this video helpful, invite others to listen to it, to check it out and see what they need to see and hear, or they need to hear from this lesson today, to find yourself through all that we talked about today in ways that you will start to show up for yourself more and more and more each and every day, and not wait for something or for someone to tell you that you can, that you are worthy, that you can eat, that you can sleep, that you can do the things that you love and enjoy, that you deserve and also do need those self-care and self-love times. Maybe even carve them out for yourself and not wait for somebody else's permission. I know some of you already have certain routines that you follow and do, whether it's you start off in the morning and you get that out of the way, or you try to squeeze in time throughout the day. But if you try to squeeze time in, it'll be more often than not, you'll find yourself just putting it off until another time, another day, and then not doing it. If not now, then when? If not in this lifetime, then in which lifetime? Becoming more aware that we are a choice and we get to choose how to do and how to live life. Another video that I did on Tuesday was talking about if life was a video game. That's not exactly the title, but that's essentially what I was talking about. How would you play it? That was definitely a great video to listen to if you haven't already, to help you play life on your terms and do life on your terms and not somebody else's. Anyways, other than that, thank you, each and every one of you, especially Debbie and Rebecca, for being on here, for chatting with me, for sharing your thoughts and feelings and emotions and the things that you like and love about yourself. So, and those of you who are watching on replay, go ahead and do the same thing. You can watch it and respond and comment as if you're watching a live video, and it comes through for those that are watching one at a time. Anyways, other than that, until we see each other next week and another Get Your Shit Together at 11:30-ish Eastern Time on Thursday, or I will see you Monday at 11:30 for a live card reading with myself in this group once again, which is Heal the Unicorn, Emotional Healing and Spiritual Growth for Women. And I hope you have an amazing the rest of your day. Stay dry if it's raining where you are. And amazing the rest of your week. Until next time. Bye, everybody.